So good evening all. Welcome to your favorite Mr. GST's lectures. This is your Professor C.A. Vishnuvardhan. So we are here to complete this GST in a very short span of time from exam point of view. So as you all know, we had a 6-day schedule. So today our agenda is going to be, see my dear friends, now what is that we are going to cover in this particular revision batch? First, let me give you your understanding. First of all, we'll be going through chapter 5, that is toss and was, time of supply and value of supply. One second. So we are going to cover time of supply and value of supply. Then we are going to cover input tax credit, chapter number 6, input tax credit. See chapter number 5 and 6, that is time of supply, value of supply and input tax credit. And a small concept from chapter 9, that is how do you utilize input tax credit balance, that is e-credit ledger balance utilization. There are certain rules, section 59 and other related parts of it. So these all together, put together, they are testing as a compulsory question in the main exam. So the first question in every attempt is almost like from these topics. So our agenda will be like first cover them, and next step of discussion will be going through registration chapter, that is the threshold limits for registration, and then we'll be covering the reverse charge mechanism supplies, and we'll be covering the GST returns, the types of returns, the deadlines, all the stuff, who has to file a return. And next we'll be going through section 7, that is supply, section 8 mixed supply and composite supply, and section 10 composite scheme, composition scheme. And after that we'll be covering important exemptions. If you see chapter number 4 exemptions, there are almost 80 plus transactions which are given in the syllabus, but there are some very important exemptions which have been tested in the main exam. So we'll be discussing those main exemptions, and also we'll be doing the problems related to that. And finally, we'll discuss amendments. And after that, what we'll do is we'll take the current RTP, that is May 2022 RTP, and we'll take the previous RTP, and we will be solving that in the classroom. So that is what our agenda for the 6 days, right? Am I clear? Shall we proceed, my dear friends? So first, the basic requirement from my side is please take your ICA study material. So we'll start with TOS, time of supply, section number 12 and 13. Everyone has your ICA study material, I guess, right? Even though it is not a latest one, don't worry about that. There are not major amendments in this particular topic, so don't worry, take your old study material also if you have that. So the screen is visible, I guess, right? Yes. Please switch on your videos. Please switch on your videos, so that I will have a feel that I'm not doing any TikTok video or Instagram reel. Fine. Yes. So we are going to discuss chapter number 5, time of supply and value of supply. First, let us go with chapter 5, segment 1, that is time of supply. So the first topic we are going to discuss is TOS, not IPL TOS, time of supply. I think this is the time for TOS in IPL match. Ganapati Divakar already started a match. Right. So what are the sections we are going to discuss in this particular chapter? Section number 12 and section number 13. So section 12 deals with time of supply with respect to goods, and section 13 deals with time of supply with respect to services. Clear? So two sections, very easy. So these two sections will talk about time of supply. First of all, quickly, what is time of supply? Any idea? What do you mean by time of supply? Any idea? Make it fast, make it fast. Reply. You can reply, you can unmute yourself and you can reply. What is time of supply? What is time of supply? Google பண்ணுவோம், and like you want to Google it. What Akshata? What is time of supply? Somebody unmute and answer, huh? Say at least, sir, we don't know.
We don't know, sir.
Right. Right, very good. Somebody gave the answer, time at which the supply is made. Wow. Right. See, simple. What is time of supply? Please understand. Now, let us assume you're placing an order for a car. Nowadays, like if you want to place an order for a car, some cars are taking one year waiting period. So you pay an advance and they will deliver the car after 1 year. For that, today you have to do the booking. So let us assume, let us not take that heavy example. Let us assume we are booking a Royal Enfield bike. We are going to the showroom. They are paying in advance of, let us say, 10,000 rupees. Today, 15th April. Let us assume after 20 days, that is next month, we are getting the delivery of the bike and we are making the balance payment. And on the day we are making the balance payment and taking the delivery of the bike, let us assume the billing machine is not working there. In the showroom, the billing machine is not working. That fellow asked us to come and collect the bill later on, and he delayed it for another 1 month. Please imagine you are making the advance payment in the month of April. You are getting the delivery of the bike somewhere in the month of May, and because of some technical reasons or whatever, that fellow has raised an invoice in the month of June. Are you able to understand? That means this transaction went on over a period of time, like it passed on like 2 different months. Now, please understand, when I should pay GST on this? As a seller of bikes, I should collect GST from the customer and pay it to the department, yes or no? Who has the obligation to pay GST to the department? Supplier. Correct? So as a seller of bike, I have collected money from you, something in the name of advance, something in the name of balance payment, and I am giving invoice at a different date. I am giving delivery at a different date. Correct? When I should pay GST on that? Should I pay that in the month of April, May, June? Is it clear? So that is the doubt here. So the point is, sir, at what point of time? At what point of time your liability to pay GST shall arise? That is what we call as time of supply. Are you able to understand, my dear friends? What is time of supply? What is time of supply? Time of supply is simple. Sir, I am selling something, whether it is goods or services, whatever it is. I have to pay GST on that. I know about that. Correct? This transaction is a supply, it will attract GST, I'm sure about it. But this transaction is running over a period of time. At what point of time my liability to pay tax shall arise? Should I pay that in the month of April? Should I pay that in the month of May, June, July, August, September? When? So that is the doubt. Is it clear? Is it clear? So what is time of supply, my dear friends? Time of supply is simple. At what point of time your liability to pay tax shall arise? Clear? Because in a transaction, there is a separate date of invoice, there is separate date of delivery of goods, there is separate date of payment. So these events are happening which are related to same transaction in different months. If they are happening on a same day, no issues. Understand? If they are happening on a same day, there are no problems. But practically it doesn't happen, correct? So what should I do? I should understand when my liability to pay tax will arise. That is what time of supply. Shall we proceed? So to know when my liability to pay tax shall arise, sir, for goods there are different provisions and for services there are different provisions. So the section talking about goods is section 12. The section talking about services is section 13. Very simple concept. Let us proceed. Am I clear what is time of supply? Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? Yes. Those who are switching on the videos, give me some facial expressions. No?
Yes, sir.
Right. Let us proceed. So, time of supply. As I told, time of supply, section 12 deals with goods, section 13 deals with services. But now, one important thing is, before understanding section 12 and section 13, we should understand section 31. What is section 31? What is section 31?
Time limit for issuance of invoice.
What time limit for?
Issuance of invoice for supply of goods.
Only goods or services also are?
Only goods, sir.
No, for both goods and services. Clear? It is just time limit to raise invoice, no matter whether it is good or services. Is that clear? So, see, our discussion will be, first of all, how it will happen now. See, first our discussion will be like this. First, we'll discuss section 31. So, section 31 is what? Section 31 is nothing but time limit to raise invoice. For what? Goods or services are? For both. What is section 12? Time of supply for goods, correct? So first what we will do is, we will discuss first section 31, but only related to goods. Only the part belonging to goods we will discuss for section 31. Only if you understand section 31, which is related to goods, then we can start discussing section 12. After that, what we will do, we will go with the section 31, which is related to services. Then we'll go with section 13. Is that clear? Is that clear? Shall we proceed? So the point is, here, section 31, time limit to raise the invoice, we have to understand. Then we will understand time of supply for goods. Next, section 31 related to services, we will discuss. Then we will understand time limit to raise invoice for services. Am I clear? Shall we proceed? Right. So now, first let us understand section 31, time limit to raise invoice for goods. Time limit to raise invoice for goods. I'll give you time for copying. First, let us focus on the concept. Fine. So, section 31, as I already told you, what is section 31, my dear friends? Time limit for raising the invoice. So we are going to deal only with goods for time being. For time being, we are going to see what is the time limit for raising the invoice for goods. Now, please understand, in this again there are so many possibilities. There are different possibilities. Is it clear? Now, the time limit to raise the invoice for goods, time limit to raise the invoice for goods. Time limit to raise the invoice for goods. See, the first possibility, when I am supplying something to you, the goods, whether that supply involves movement of goods or not. You are going to an Apple store, not these apples, ma, these apples. Right. You are going to an Apple store and you are purchasing an iPhone 13 Ultra Pro Max. Let us assume new model. So now I'm going and purchasing an iPhone 13 Ultra Pro Max in the store. Tell me, when I purchase that, there is a supply, yes or no? In GST, obviously, you know, there is no term called as sale. We use supply. So there is a supply here. Now, because there is a supply, you are selling an iPhone 13 Ultra Pro Max to me. Whether the movement of goods is involved, whether you move that goods or not, whether this supply involves movement of goods, yes. Obviously, yes. Correct. I cannot purchase an iPhone 13 Ultra Pro Max just for 1,99,000 and keep it with the iPhone store people only. Whenever I want to make a call, I'll go to the iPhone store and make a call. So, of course, the mobile has to be moved, right? Movement of goods is involved. So, when there is movement of goods, obviously there will be movement of goods only, sir. Whenever I purchase anything, whether it is Apple phone or Apple fruit, there is a movement of good, correct? In that case, what is the time limit to raise invoice? On or before removal of the good, seller has to raise the invoice. Is that clear? Who will raise the invoice? Seller will raise the invoice. When he has to raise the invoice, sir, supply involves movement of goods, sir. Yes. On or before removal of that good, you raise the invoice. Is it clear? Is it clear? Suppose, sir, there is no movement of goods. Suppose there is no movement of goods. Suppose there is no movement of goods. In such case, let us assume. I am a person who is into manufacturing, like large plant and machinery required in a cement factory. How do I manufacture that and how do I transport that? Sir, the plant and machinery is so huge, I will not assemble the plant and machinery in my location and I will not transport it, correct? What we will do, we will transport the spare parts, everything, go to the customer's location and assemble the plant and machinery there, and you bring that into existence. Yes or no? You tell me, what is that you are selling? I am selling plant and machinery. Is there movement of plant and machinery? No, there is only movement of spare parts. I just move the spare parts, go to the location of the customer and assemble the plant and machinery there. Plant and machinery will come into existence only at that location. Are you able to understand? That means I am selling plant and machinery. Whether plant and machinery is being moved? No. That means there is no movement of goods, yes or no? What is the time limit in that case? Guys, please understand. No complications, nothing. Only what is the scenario when you should raise the invoice. Simple. Scenario is what? Movement of goods involved. When you should raise the invoice, on or before. Removal. Second scenario is what? Sir, movement itself is not there, sir. Then on or before making the goods available to the customer or giving him the delivery. Is it clear? You should raise the invoice. That is the story there. First, we have to discuss the provisions, then we have to go to the problems. So today our agenda will be, first we'll discuss the provisions, then we'll discuss completely the problems covering all the possibilities. Clear? So now second possibility is movement of goods not involved, sir. When you should raise the invoice, when you should raise the invoice, everyone, when you should raise the invoice, on or before delivery or making the goods available. Clear? Next possibility is continuous supply of goods. Continuous supply of goods. That means it is not like a one-time transaction we both are entering. Let us assume I am a supplier of raw material. We both are entering into a transaction that you are asking, Vishnu sir, you sell the raw material to us for 1 year. Whenever we place the order. And the raw material should be per kg 20 rupees for the next 1 year. Is it clear? So that means this is a recurring transaction which will happen over a period of time. In such cases, what is the time limit to raise invoice? What is the time limit to raise the invoice, my dear friends? Look at the screen and tell me what is the time limit to raise invoice? On or before issuance of periodical statement or receipt of periodical payments. Who is the supplier here in the example? Vishnu sir is the supplier, correct? Mr. Vishnu, the supplier, he will keep on giving you statement monthly, a periodical statement. Like for example, Divakar, see on April 1st, I have sent this much of goods. April 10th, this much of goods. April 20th, this much of goods. April 30th, this much of goods. Like that, I prepared a periodical statement and I'm passing it on to Divakar. Is it clear? So as and when, if at all that is the practice, between me and Divakar. Whenever I am giving the periodical statement, on or before that, I should give invoice also to him. Is it clear? Suppose our practice is not like that. Divakar, a very honest fellow, let us assume. He will not wait for the periodical statement, nothing. He will have his own data. What he will do every month, first, he will see last month what are the goods supplied by Vishnu sir, and he will make the payment. Are you able to understand? What is the practice between us? It is not like customer will not wait for the periodical statement, anything. He will straight away make payment on every month, 1st or 5th, let us assume. In such cases, the moment I receive the payment, I should raise the invoice. Or before that also, I can raise the invoice. Are you able to understand? Here the point is not whichever is later. Here the point is not whichever is later. Here the point is according to your practice, according to your agreement. Clear? So it can be either issuing periodical statement or it can be the receipt of payments. That can be your practice. Whichever is convenient for you, you can proceed accordingly. Invoice should be raised before that or at that particular point of time. Clear? Shall we proceed? What is the another possibility? The final possibility is, see, so generally, when I supply goods to you, time of supply should come into picture. Then only my tax liability will arise, yes or no? What will I do? I will send goods to, let us assume Akshata. I will send 100 tons of goods, raw material. What I will show in my books of accounts, I will not raise invoice. I will say that goods sent for sale on approval. But in cash, I would have already received payment from Akshata. But in books, what I am showing? Goods sent for sale on approval. When Akshata is giving the approval, she never gave the approval. That means I never raised the invoice. I can escape GST liability, correct? Are you able to understand? That means I can show something as goods sent for sale on approval basis for a longer period of time and I can avoid GST liability, yes or no? So what is the law says here? What is that law saying here? If you show something in the books of accounts as goods sent for sale on approval basis, when you should raise the invoice? When the opposite party gives the approval, I should raise the invoice. If the opposite party doesn't give the approval, immediately after the expiry of 6 months from the date of removal, when you have shown it as like goods sent for sale on approval to Akshata from that date, within 6 months, if there is no approval, immediately next day after the expiry of 6 months, I should raise the invoice. That means, please understand, nobody can show something as goods sent for sale on approval basis for a period beyond 6 months. Are you able to understand? Is it clear? So tell me everyone, what is the time limit to raise invoice when goods sent for sale on approval basis? At the time of supply or 6 months after the expiry of 6 months from the date of removal of goods. Whichever is earlier, here it comes. Whichever is earlier point, here it comes. Clear? That means I have sent the goods to Akshata today, ma. After 5 days, she is giving approval. Then I should raise the invoice. She never gave approval. After 6 months, I should raise the invoice. Are you able to understand? Shall we proceed? Is it clear? So these are the possibilities. These are the possibilities. Can you please copy fast? Hope you are able to understand the handwriting. So what is section 31 related to goods? We have discussed the time limit to raise the invoice with respect to goods. In case if there is, everyone please repeat along with me. So in case if there is movement of goods, what is the time limit to raise the invoice, my dear friends? On or before removal. If there is no movement of goods, then on or before the delivery or making the goods available to the customer. If it is a continuous supply of goods, then on or before issuance of periodical statement or receipt of periodical payments. No, whichever is earlier. In case of goods sent for sale on approval basis, then on or before supply, that is when it is accepted, or 6 months from the date of removal, whichever is earlier. Fine. So there is the time limit to raise invoice. Fine, sir, we have understood time limit to raise invoice, section 31, but our main discussion is section 12, time of supply for goods. Correct. So what is that? Now please understand, coming to section 12. Coming to section 12, we have subsection 1, 2, don't copy, 3, This doesn't have what to get copied by you people. So just for my explanation purpose. 5 and 6. Subsection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, in this, section 12 subsection 1 is a waste subsection. Why? Because it will say, what is time of supply now? Please refer the following subsections, it will say. For that, you need a separate subsection. Fine. So, leave about subsection 1. Now, coming to subsection 2. This is a general rule. This is a general rule. Coming to subsection 3. Subsection 3 talks about time of supply for RCM supplies. What is RCM? What is RCM? RCM. No, the comment box is still open. Even though you cannot unmute yourself, you can comment actually. Okay. Ravichandran, Vishnu Priya, yes. Next. Others. Akshata, right. Harini. Okay, fine. At least you remember what is RCM. Fine. I hope you also remember the supplies covered under RCM. Some don't know. Fine. So reverse charge mechanism where the recipient is liable to pay GST. Right? Fine. In that cases, what is the time of supply? We will see. And subsection 4, vouchers. In case of vouchers, what is the time of supply? Next, the residual case. And the last one, interest, late fee, penalty, whatever it is. Fine. So without wasting much time here, let us go with subsection 2 fast. And please understand, my dear friends, you need not read any theory in your study material with respect to this time of supply. Just at the end of every subsection, they have given beautifully a flowchart kind of thing, some summary notes kind of thing. That is more than sufficient. Fine. Let us go with page number 5.14. Page number 5.14. Time of supply for goods. The general rule, section 12, subsection 1. Sorry, subsection 2. Section 12, subsection 2. So, got it? Shall we proceed? What is given in section 12, subsection 2? What is given in section 12, subsection 2? They say time of supply for goods. Generally, time of supply for goods is nothing but 3 things you have to see. What are the 3 things, my dear friends? Number 1, date of issuance of invoice or last date of issuance of invoice. If you observe this point properly, there are 2 things in this. Date of issuance of invoice. And what is another one? Last date of issuance of invoice under section 31. That means, please understand, first point they are talking about actual date of invoice and also the due date of invoice under section 31. Are you able to understand? What is the date of invoice means? When did you actually raise the invoice? What is the next one they are talking? Last date of invoice under section 31. That means, can I say due date? What is the last date? Due date. That means here there are 2 things. What is that? Number 1, actual date of invoice. DOI means date of invoice. Actual date of invoice. Number 2, the due date of invoice under section 31. Now you understood why I discussed the section 31 first. Because you should understand what is the due date under section 31. Correct? So we know what is due date under section 31. Then what is the actual date? That you should see in the question they would have given. This stupid fellow has sold goods on 15th April, but actually raised the invoice on 18th April. What is the actual date of invoice? 18th April. Are you able to understand? So they will give the actual date of invoice in the question, nothing to worry. Fine. So we have understood actual date of invoice and due date of invoice. What else should I compare? What else should I compare? Sir, I should compare date of payment also. How many dates I should compare, sir? 3 dates. Simple. Section 12, subsection 2, 3 dates you have to compare. What are the 3 dates, my dear friends? Date of invoice, due date of invoice, date of payment. What are the 3 dates? What are the 3 dates? Date of invoice, due date of invoice, date of payment. Whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier. That is the time of supply. That is the time of supply. Am I clear? Am I clear? Now, date of payment means I will get a doubt. What is that? Sir, I have received a check today from you people. You gave a check. 15th April, you gave the check. In my books of accounts, what I will do? I will write an entry on 15th April. In my tally, I will record, okay, payment received. But I am depositing the check when? Tomorrow, let us assume bank holiday. Next Sunday, bank holiday. Next Monday, I am depositing. It is getting cleared somewhere on Wednesday, let us assume. So it is getting cleared somewhere on 20th April. So what should I consider as date of payment? Because in my books of accounts, I am recording some different date. But in my bank account, it is crediting on some different date. Which date I should take? Whichever is earlier. Simple. That is the date of payment. Majority cases in the question, in the exam, in the question, what they will do, they will straight away give you the date of payment. Majority of the cases. In some cases, what they will say, payment is given, the check is given on 15th April, recorded the same in the books of accounts on the same day. 20th, it got credited into the bank account. What you will do? 15th April is the date of payment, simple, whichever is early. Sometimes what will happen? Sir, my bank account got credited with your payment somewhere 1st April only. But I was celebrating new financial year with my family and friends. So I didn't check the bank statement. Later on, after 10 days, I saw the bank statement down 10th April. I'm putting the entry in the tally. What is the date of payment? Same date of entry or date of credit, whichever is earlier. Date of credit already over 1st April. So 1st April is the date of payment. Am I clear? A simple topic. Fine. So just remember 12 subsection 2. What is 12 subsection 2? Time of supply for goods. What is the time of supply for goods? General rule. General rule means what? Sir, for reverse charge mechanism, there is something called 12 subsection 3. That means what I'm talking here, I'm talking here about where supplier is liable to pay GST when the time of supply comes into picture. Take the date of invoice or due date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier, that is the time of supply. Am I clear? Am I clear? Sir, what is date of payment? What is date of payment? What is date of payment? Date of entry in the books or date of credit in the bank account, whichever is earlier. Fine. Yes. Now, please copy this. Please copy this. Well, subsection 2. Time of supply for goods. General rule. That is when forward charge mechanism works. That is the supplier is liable to pay GST. The time of supply is actual date of invoice. DOI means date of invoice. Second one, due date of invoice under section 31. And third one is date of payment, whichever is earlier. So date of payment, again, you may come across 2 different dates. That is date of entry in the books of accounts or date of credit in the bank account. So if it is the story, then you take whichever is earlier. You take whichever is earlier. Then copying, shall we look at a small example? Come to number 1 in your page 5.15. Without looking at the answer, please try to answer it. Please be very honest. Huh? Cheating is allowed only in the exam hall, not in the classroom. Illustration 1. What is the time of supply for this? You will definitely do a mistake. I want you to do that. Shall we discuss? So please understand here, a machine has to be supplied at site. It is done by sourcing various components from vendors and assembling the machine at site. The details of the various events are as follows. This is something related to goods and obviously section 12 subsection 2 story only. Now the point is, what is the provision? They have asked you determine the time of supply. First of all, when you read any question in the exam, please understand what is that they are asking us to compute. First, you should understand that requirement. Why? Because generally, see, you will come across a question. They will ask you determine the value of taxable supply. That means they want you to tell what is the value of taxable supply. That's all. They might have given GST rates also in the question. What we will do with the too much of enthusiasm, we will also calculate the GST. They didn't ask that. So you're just wasting your time in the exam. So please understand what is the requirement of the question. They're asking you only to compute the taxable value. They're asking you to compute the GST liability. Are they asking you the net GST payable? Are they asking you the net minimum GST payable in cash? So what is the requirement? You have to be very, very, very clear. Am I clear? Shall we proceed? Right. They have asked us here what is the time of supply. Fine. So what is the time of supply for goods, my dear friends? As we know, that due date of invoice, due date of invoice, date of payment, whichever is earlier. Here, 17th September purchase order with advance 50,000 is received for machine worth 12 lakhs. That means, can I say this is the date of payment for rupees 50,000? Yes or no? What is the 20th October? 20th October machine is assembled, tested at site and accepted by buyer. What is that actually? Does it have any relevance? Yes, that is the due date according to section 13. Yes or no? Are you able to understand? Because the machine is delivered to the customer or made it available. Correct? So that means on or before that date, you should have raised the invoice. Okay, that means, can I say this is nothing but due date of invoice 23rd October, 23rd October, obviously 23rd October, date of invoice. What is 4th November? 4th November, date of payment, but for how much amount? 11.5 lakhs. Now the story here is, please understand. Sir, this transaction is related to rupees 12 lakhs. Now, out of this rupees 12 lakhs, you have received rupees 50,000 as advance and rupees 11,50,000 balance payment later, correct? Please always remember, for every payment you should compute time of supply. For every payment. That will help you actually. Fine. So now 50,000. What is the time of supply? Same provisions. Date of invoice, due date of invoice, date of payment, whichever is earlier. Yes or no? Date of payment. When is the date of payment, ma? 17th November, September, sorry. 17th September. Due date of invoice 20th October. Sorry. Yes. Date of payment is 17th September. Due date of invoice is 20th October. What is the date of invoice? 23rd October. 23rd October. Yes. 23rd October. Correct. Which is earlier here? Which is earlier? Which is earlier? 17th September is earlier. Then that is the time of supply, correct? That means, please understand, the moment, listen carefully, the moment you receive advance, you are supposed to pay GST. This provision was borrowed from service tax. So people dealing with services are very much familiar with this. Whenever they receive advance, they used to pay service tax. Now also whenever they receive advance, they will pay GST. They are not having any problem whatsoever. But people dealing with goods, they never came across such provision. So through GST, what you are doing, people dealing with goods, whenever they receive advance, you are asking them to pay GST. Correct? So everyone started crying. And they made a representation to the government, please reconsider this provision. So government also came up with a relaxation. What is the relaxation? Hey, if you compare date of payment only, that will be earlier, then time of supply will come. Yes or no? When there is an advance received, you forget the date of payment. Then what should I calculate, sir? What balance two dates are there? Date of invoice, due date of invoice. You calculate only them. Okay, date of invoice, due date of invoice. Which is earlier, ma? Due date of invoice is earlier. That is the time of supply for the 50,000. What about the 11,50,000? Sir, for that also, if you see, what is the date of invoice? Same 23rd October. What is the due date of invoice? 20th October. What is the date of payment? 4th November. So what is the time of supply? Fortunately, 20th October, same in the both cases. Are you able to understand? In both the cases, luckily they are same. But you always remember, compute time of supply for each payment. For each payment, what you should do? What is the date of invoice? What is the due date of invoice? What is the date of payment? Whichever is earlier. But if it is an advance, I will not compare date of payment. Are you able to understand? If it is advance, I will not compare date of payment. Is that clear? Shall we proceed? That means, please copy this flowchart. For advances received in case of goods. This is only in case of goods, my dear friends, not for services. For advances received in case of goods, what is the time of supply? The time of supply is actual date of invoice or due date of invoice, whichever is earlier. So for advances received in case of goods, what is the time of supply? Actual date of invoice or due date of invoice under section 31, whichever is earlier. Shall we proceed? Done? Right, okay. So that is 12 subsection 2. What is 12 subsection 3? Time of supply for Goods covered under reverse charge mechanism. Goods covered under reverse charge mechanism. Is that clear? Shall we proceed? Right. So goods covered under reverse charge mechanism. Time of supply. Same again. Let us go with the summary given in the institute study material below. So that is more than sufficient. Come to page number 5.18. 5.18. Page number 5.18. Section 12, subsection 3. What is section 12, subsection 3, my dear friends? Time of supply for goods covered under RCM. Generally, what students will say 12 subsection 3 means reverse charge, RCM. 12 subsection 3 is not RCM. 9 subsection 3 is RCM. 9 subsection 4 is RCM. 12 subsection 3 is RCM for, sorry, time of supply for goods covered under RCM. 12 subsection 3 is time of supply for goods covered under RCM. Is that clear? Fine. Sir, what is the time of supply? Here also you should just remember the provision. What is the provision? Simply, how many dates you have to remember now? You have to remember 3 dates, my dear friends. In case of goods covered under RCM, who is liable to pay GST? Who is liable to pay GST? Recipient is liable to pay GST. Correct. So we will talk from recipient's point of view here. Are you able to understand? Here we will talk from recipient's point of view. So I will see when recipient has received the goods, date of receipt of goods by the recipient. Next, number 2, I will compute what is the first day after the expiry of 30 days from the date of invoice. Instead of saying first day after the expiry of 30 days from the date of invoice, simple terms, 31st day from the date of invoice. Actual date of invoice. What should I compare? What should I compare? 31st day from the date of invoice, actual date of invoice. Clear? Right. And finally, what is that I have to compare? Our favorite thing, date of payment. Date of payment. Now here, understand, date of payment means already you have understood date of entry in the books of accounts or date of credit in the bank account. But that you have learned from supplier's angle, correct? But here we are talking from recipient's angle. So what is the date of payment? Date of entry in whose books of accounts? Recipient's books of accounts. Or date of credit in the recipient's bank account, huh? Debit in the recipient's bank. Is it clear? Debit in the recipient's bank. He made the payment. No, he made the payment to the supplier. He purchased the goods. He made the payment. So it will be debited from his bank account. Clear? Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? What is that? Time of supply under section 12, subsection 3. The date of receipt of goods. Date of receipt of goods. 31st day from the actual date of invoice. And date of payment. Whichever is earlier, I will take it as time of supply. First, let us see the question here. And please understand, in the question, most probably they will tell you this is a transaction covered under RCM. Sometimes if it is related to services, they need not tell also, because RCM supplies are already there in your syllabus. Are you able to understand? RCM supplies are already there in your syllabus, especially the services. So if the question is related to RCM services, they may not tell you that this is covered under RCM also. Fine, you should identify it. Fine, look at the question. First, look at the question. What is the time of supply here, my dear friends? May 4th, supplier invoices goods taxable on RCM to Bridge and Co. May 4th is what? Actual date of invoice. You need date of invoice, huh? What you need? 31st day from the date of invoice, correct? See how generous our institute is. They thought you cannot compute 31st day. So they clearly give 30 days will lapse on June 3rd. It means what is the 31st day? What Harni need calculator? Huh? June 4th, right? So June 4th is the 31st day. June 4th is the 31st day, correct? What you need? What you need? You need not have date of invoice. You need 31st day from the date of invoice. May 4th, that is the date of invoice. You leave that. You leave that. From that you compute 31st day. From that you compute 31st day. Is that clear? So June 4th. Am I clear? June 4th. Next, date of receipt of goods, May 12th. Date of payment, May 30th. Tell me what is the time of supply out of this, whichever is earlier. Which is earlier? Which is earlier? May 12th. Is that clear? One second. So look at illustration 4 and tell me what is the answer for that. Illustration 4. Then I'll give you time to copy the provision 12 subsection 3. First tell me the answer for illustration 4. Shweta, correct. Divakar, right. Type fast, type fast. Comment your answers. Roshni, correct. Ramya, correct. Yes, simple thing, right? So June 4th, obviously correct now. Everyone, yes or no? Shall we proceed? Simple. What should I compare, sir? If it is a question regarding time of supply for goods covered under RCM, then the provision is I should compare date of receipt of goods, 31st day from the date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Simple. Copy fast, copy fast. When I draw an arrow mark like this, that means whichever is earlier. So 12 subsection 3 simple. 12 subsection 2, 3 are simple. Like let us rush through subsection 4, 5, and 6. They are very, very small topics. Simple here. See, generally we'll come across something called this coupons, right? In our day-to-day life, especially the corporate people who are in the corporate. So they'll be getting some coupons or vouchers from the employer. So these employers or employees or anybody like will be going for shopping and there will get some coupons or vouchers. You do shopping worth 10,000, then you will get a voucher worth 2,000 just for 499 like that. If you see recent times during COVID and all, the hotel chains like Oyo and all, they came up with an offer. Like you purchase a voucher worth 999 or whatever it is, just for 499 or whatever. That means you pay 500 and you redeem 1,000 rupees. So like this, they will be selling some coupons or vouchers. Now the point is when you purchase those vouchers, what is the time of supply for those vouchers? What is the time of supply for those vouchers is the concept. Now simple, sir, when I look at that voucher, what do you mean by voucher, sir? That is nothing but in exchange of cash, they will accept it, correct? You need not make payment of money. You give that coupon or voucher, they will accept it as consideration, right? For that, what is the time of supply? Now, I am a supermarket fellow. I'm selling vouchers to you. You are regularly purchasing something from me, and you have purchased this month something worth 2,000. I gave you a voucher for 500 rupees voucher, but you are buying that voucher from me, giving 99 rupees. That means voucher I am selling to you. What you will do with that voucher? Tomorrow you will come purchase something, redeem that voucher. Correct? So now, what is the time of supply for that? When the liability to pay tax shall arise for that. That is the story here. So now there are two possibilities, my dear friend. There are two possibilities. Sir, what is the supply hidden in that voucher? Is it identifiable? If I have a Reliance Trends voucher with me, what I will do with that Reliance Trends voucher? Can I go to Pizza Hut and have pizza? What is the supply hidden in that? Supply hidden in that is nothing but supply of ready-made garments. Is that identifiable? Is it identifiable? Yes. So what is the time of supply? Time of supply is date of issue of voucher. Let us assume you are getting a voucher from any shopping mall. They are celebrating their 5th anniversary or 10th anniversary. The mall fellow has sold some vouchers to you at a cheaper price, discounted price, whatever it is. You are taking that voucher. How do you deal with that voucher? You go to the mall in a specific date. You purchase electronic item, you purchase garments, you purchase footwear, you purchase anything. You will get the option to redeem that voucher. That means what is hidden in that voucher? Nobody knows, not even like you. You also don't know until you buy something. You're going to the mall to purchase, let us assume, some mobile phone to you. And what suddenly your girlfriend is asking for a particular dress in Reliance Trends showroom. And you are gifting her the dress by using that voucher. So the point is, until you redeem the voucher, you also doesn't have any idea like what you will purchase using that voucher. Are you able to understand? So in that case, what is the time of supply? Date of redemption. The time of supply is date of redemption. Simple concept, no? Nothing to worry. Just because it's there, I'm just teaching you. Not that greatly important. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? You need not copy also. Simply remember, in case of vouchers, what is the time of supply? The time of supply is if the nature of supply is identifiable, date of issue of voucher. If the nature of supply is not identifiable, date of redemption of voucher. Right? Next, there is something called, you just take screenshots of this, then you can just copy later on. Or you can just go through the study material also, nothing great, important here for example. Fine. So next, 12 subsection 5. 12 subsection 5 is nothing but residual case. What does it mean? Like, sir, your scenario is nowhere coming in the subsections 2, 3, 4, 6 and all. See, unfortunately, this subsection should be the last subsection. But this subsection is the penultimate subsection. That means there is something else after this also. When there is something called residual case, you should place it last. But they have placed it last but one subsection is residual case. So what is this? So nothing but in residual cases, they will ask you one question. What is that? Are you required to file any periodical return? Yes, sir. Then your time of supply is due date for filing that periodical return. Sir, I am not required to file any periodical return, sir. I am a stupid fellow who didn't register under GST at all. Or I have already registered but cancelled my registration. So I need not file any periodical return service. Then whatever is the date you are going and paying the tax, that itself will be taken as time of supply. Simple. So 12 subsection 5 is residual case. They are asking whether you are required to file any periodical return or not. If yes is your answer, then due date for the periodical return will be the time of supply. If no is the answer, you need not file any periodical returns. Then whenever you are making the payment for GST, that is the time of supply. Is it clear? Shall we proceed? Fine. This last subsection, 12 subsection 6, is what important for us. 12 subsection 6. So look at 12 subsection 6 now. What is 12 subsection 6? 12 subsection is all about simple. You are selling something. You are selling something. When you are selling something, most of the cases on credit basis, we are selling the goods. I am selling, let us assume, I am selling some goods to Manjula. for 1 lakh rupees. She said, sir, 30 days credit period, sir. I said, okay, 30 days. But I know that she will not repay within 30 days. Generally, the past experiences. So I don't have faith on her. So what I said, Manjula, see, I will give 30 days time limit, the credit period. But if you are not paying within 30 days, you should pay me extra interest, 1% per month. Are you able to understand? I may call it as interest, I may call it as late fees, or I may call it as penalty. Is that fine? Are you able to understand? I may call it as interest, I may call it as late fee, I may call it as penalty, I may call it as Vishnu also, by whatever name called. Are you able to understand? So the law says interest, late fee, penalty, or by whatever name called. For what purpose? I'm charging that for delay in payment of consideration. For delay in payment of consideration. For that, now I am receiving. See, she is making payment after some 45 days. She paid 1 lakh, and also she paid interest. Let us assume some 700 rupees. She paid interest. She paid some interest of, let us assume, some 700 rupees. On that interest also you should pay GST. Hope you remember that. If there is interest or late fee or penalty for delay in payment of consideration, you are paying the consideration late. For that, if you are paying interest or late fee or penalty, on that GST should be paid. What is the time of supply for that? What is the time of supply for that? Whenever she pays me that amount, interest, that is the time of supply. Sir, I asked her to pay 700 late fee or penalty, sir, but she never paid. Then there is no time of supply. Then there is no time of supply, because time of supply is date of payment. If she doesn't pay, there is no time of supply. That means no liability to pay tax. 12 subsection 6 alone, you have to be clear. Simple concept, but you have to be clear. Why? Because that will be tested in the questions as an adjustment. Clear? Shall we proceed? So please remember 12 subsection 6. Mark it important. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? Right. So if there is any late fees or penalty or interest, why? Because if there is any delay in payment of consideration, for that, if you are making any payment, you call it interest, late fee, penalty, whatever it is. For that, what is the time of supply? Date of payment. Am I clear? Fine. So next, with this we are done with. Section 12. Page number 5.22. If you look at that, there is a flow chart given in the Institute study material summarizing the entire section 12. That is also very, very, very beautifully presented. You can also use it for your revision purpose. Nothing else is required. Nothing else is required. Just trust me, that page alone is sufficient for entire section 12. Clear? For revision purpose. Just revise it once, then you can happily solve the problems. Right? Let us proceed with section 13. So what is section 13, my dear friends? What is section 13? Time of supply for services. We are done with section 12, time of supply for goods. What is section 13? Time of supply for services. But before understanding section 13, we should discuss what? Section 31. Section 31 again. Section 31 is what? Time limit to raise invoice for both goods and services. Goods part is over. KGF part 1 we have already seen. Now we are going to see KGF part 2. Correct? So that is time limit to raise invoice for services. Fine. How many of you seen KGF part 2? Raise your hands. Sir, life itself became KGF part 3, sir. You're asking to watch KGF part 2. Fine. So let us go with section 31, time limit to raise invoice for services. Even though there is May attempt, some people are left, right, center enjoying with movies, Triple R, KGF 2, Beast, Ghost, Roast, everything. Fine. Coming to the point, time limit to raise invoices for services. Again, here we have different possibilities, and for each and every possibility, what is the time limit to raise invoice? Clear? Fine. So now same story again here. What is the general rule? What is the general? One thing you have to understand. Don't get confused between section 31 and section 12. Section 31 and section 13. Section 31 is an input data for solving section 12 and 13. Are you able to understand? Using section 31, you will get some date. That date is helpful for solving section 12 or section 13. Don't think whatever you get answer in section 31, that is time of supply. Majority of the students will do the same mistake. They will get the time limit to raise invoice. By getting the time limit to raise invoice, they will assume that they have solved the problem and they will write that is the time of supply. Time limit to raise invoice, section 31 will give some date. Using this date, you calculate time of supply. Like that, section 31 will give just an input data. That is not the final answer. Right? So please always be clear with what is section 31, what is section 12, what is section 13. Now, sir, goods, what is the time limit to raise invoice? If there is movement of goods on or before removal, if there is no movement of goods on or before making it available or delivery to the customer, if it is continuous supply of goods, periodical statements, periodical payments, as the case may be, if it is goods sent for sale on approval basis, time of supply, that is when they are accepted, or 6 months from the date of removal, whichever is earlier. Then for services, services we are giving you good time. Not like in goods, the moment you remove the goods, you have to raise the invoice. No. Here I am giving you time to raise the invoice. 30 days, enjoy. 30 days from the date of completion of service. Within that time, you raise the invoice. The law says within 30 days from the date of completion of service or the date of provision of service, you raise the invoice. Am I clear? If you are a banking company or a financial institutions or an NBFC or an insurance company, you get 45 days. So what is the general rule, my dear friends? What is the general rule? Sir, I am providing service, sir. Within 30 days from the date of provision of service, raise the invoice. If you are a bank or financial institution or NBFC or an insurance company, you take 45 days. No problem. There is the time limit. Clear? Sir, if the supply ceases before completion, the next possibility, I will give you time to copy. First listen. If the supply ceases before completion, what does it mean? I told 10 days GST lectures. After attending 4 days, you decided Vishnu sir doesn't know to teach GST at all. So you are just cancelling the classes. You are cancelling, not me. You are cancelling the classes. So supply stops before completion. Ceases means what? Stops. Supply ceases before completion. In that case, at the time of cessation, I should raise the invoice. Sir, if it is a continuous supply of service, it is a continuous supply of service. Very, very important area. There were cases in the main exam where it was tested for 5 marks. Sometimes it was tested for 3 marks. That particular topic alone, not even time of supply, time limit to raise invoice in case of continuous supply of services. So in case of continuous supply of service, that means obviously a service which takes a period at least 3 months to complete all the stuff. So we'll not worry about continuous supply of service definition. So if it is a continuous supply of service, what is the time limit to raise invoice? Let us assume I am giving a contract to Divakar to construct my house. Obviously, it is a continuous supply of service. It will take more than 3 months. Yes or no? So now the point is how the discussion regarding payment is made between me and Divakar. I told to Divakar, every month, see 12 months project, 1.2 crore project, 12 months. That means 120 lakhs, 12 months project. Let us assume. I said, Divakar, every month, after the month, the next month, 10th, I will give you 10 lakhs. That means, is there any due date mentioned in the contract? Is there any due date mentioned in the contract? Yes. By reading the agreement, are you able to ascertain the due date? Yes. On or before the due date, the contractor Divakar has to raise the invoice. If you read the agreement, there is no such due date. Whenever he comes and asks, sir, money, I will give him money. Are you able to understand? Whenever he is in need of money, he will come and ask me and I will pay him. We didn't mention anything called due date in the contract. That means, can you identify the due date in the contract? No. Due date is not ascertainable. Due date is not ascertainable. In that case, if the due date is not ascertainable, actual date of payment, on or before the payment, that fellow contractor has to raise the invoice. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand? In case of Kanya supply service, due date is mentioned in the contract. Then supplier should raise the invoice on or before the due date. Due date is not mentioned in the contract. Then on or before actual date of payment, he should raise the invoice. Here, or the another possibility here is, you remember your contract costing topic. Contract costing. You will calculate the percentage of work completed, certified by a engineer or whatever it is, chartered accountant, whatever it is. So percentage of completion. Let us assume in the contract what you will say, Mr. Contractor, you complete 30% of work. I will release 25% payment. You complete 50% of work. I will release 30% payment. Like this, payment is linked to an event. Yes or no? Payment is linked to an event. Right? So in that case, on or before completion of such event, he has to raise the invoice. Is it clear? On or before completion of such payment, he has to raise the invoice. Am I clear? Fine. So remaining thing is not that greatly required. You please first copy this alone. No? You copy this alone. Is it visible? You can zoom it, right? I guess. You can zoom it, right? Yes, yes. Please copy fast. Please copy fast. So look at this question, my dear friends. Look at this question. Question number 8. So please try to answer this. Make it fast, please. You can unmute yourself actually. Whenever there is doubt, please unmute yourself. And make sure you're always staying on mute whenever it is not required. You can comment your answers. Last 1 minute. So simple, here what happened? They said clearly it is a They said clearly it is a continuous supply of service. Correct. So here what they are saying, the date of commencement is 1st October, date of completion is 31st Jan, date of receipt of payment is 30th March. They are asking you first question. See, there are 3 questions here, 1, 2, and 3. They are asking you first case. What they are asking us? What is it they are asking us? First case.
If no,
If no due date for payment. If there is no due date for payment, what is the time of supply? Yes, you can unmute and respond. If there is no due date for payment, what is the time of supply?
3320.
in 30,
Provision. What is the provision? What is the provision?
if we cannot identify date in deed or contract.
The provision
On or
is
before the receipt of payment.
yes, on or before the date of receipt of payment. Right. If the payment is linked to completion of service,
After the
Date of completion of such event.
the date of completion of that particular
event.
event. So
Event.
second question to answer is 31st Jan. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes,
if
sir.
payment due date is ascertained, then
That will be the
Before the due date of
that
payment.
particular due date. That means this is the answer for the third question.
yes, sir.
Simple. This was 5-mark question in November 2018.
I have a small doubt. Like,
No, is it worth enough to give for 5 marks at least? The question. Fine. Okay, coming to the point. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
And there were cases where it was tested for 3 marks also. See again now, MTP March 19, it was 3-mark question. Right. Is that clear? Shall we proceed? So we are done with section 31, time limit to raise invoice for services. Correct. What is that we have to discuss? We have to discuss time of supply for services. Correct. Guys, are you understanding? First we have discussed section 31, then section 12. Next section 31, we have to discuss now section 13. Hope you are clear with the differences between section 31 and 12 and 13.
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Now, if you see, same story here. Coming to section 12 and 13, almost the same story. If you look at section 12 subsection 2 and 13 subsection 2, both talks about time of supply for forward charge, general.
Yes, sir.
12 subsection 3 and 13 subsection 3, reverse charge. 12 subsection 4, 13 subsection 4, vouchers.
Oh,
12
just
subsection 5, 13 subsection 5, residual case. 12 subsection 6, 13 subsection 6, interest, late fee, penalty by whatever name. Here one interesting thing is 12 subsection 4, subsection 5, 13 subsection 5, provisions are exactly same 13 subsection 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Only instead of the words goods, you will read services. That's all. Remaining everything is same to same. Clear? That means we have to read only what? 13 subsection 2, 13 subsection 3 pending. Very, very easy things again. So as we are discussing through the summary, come to page number 5.30. 5.30. That is the summary. Instead of that, let us have a flow chart here. Let us have a flow chart. 13 subsection 2. What is 13 subsection 2? First, everyone tell me what is 13 subsection 2. What is 13 subsection 2?
13.
13 subsection 2. What is 13 subsection 2?
Forward charge.
Toss for services. General. Time of supply for services.
Services.
Right? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, when you want to know what is the time of supply for services covered under general rule 13 subsection 2, first the law will ask you one basic question. What is that basic question? Whether you have raised the invoice within section 31 time limit. What is the time limit? What is the time limit to raise invoice generally? 30 days. Correct? Yes or no? Generally, the time limit to raise invoice is 30 days. So I am asking you whether you have raised the invoice within 30 days, within section 31 time limit or not. What can be your answer? What can be your answer?
Yes.
Either yes or no. Correct. There are two possibilities. Answer may be yes or answer may be no. If your answer is yes, what is the time of supply? What is the time of supply? Date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Date of invoice means actual date of invoice. Date of payment means invoice means actual date of invoice. Is it clear, ma? Sir, if the invoice is not raised within section 31 time limit, then date of completion of service, that is you call date of provision of service also, or date of payment, whichever is earlier. That means, please understand, the time of supply for services. I am providing a service, I am taking lectures for you, I am providing services to you. On that, I have collected the fees. On that, when GST I should pay to the department, ma, simple. Now the department will ask me, Vishnu, you have provided a service, no? For that, whether you have raised the invoice within the time limit, Vishnu? Yes, sir, I have raised. Then what is the time of supply? Actual date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. No, sir, I didn't raise the invoice within section 31 time limit. When did you complete the service? Or date of payment, whichever is earlier, that is the time of supply. Are you able to understand? Shall we see the problem? Shall we see the problem? Then we'll see the notes. First, let us see the problem. Solve this fast. Illustration 5, page number 5.29. If you want to look at the study material, illustration 5, 5.29, page number. Is this related to service, my dear friends? Again, please understand, here the total consideration is how much?
It's
15,000.
15,000.
But are you receiving it in a single stroke, single
No, no.
payment?
No.
So you will receive advance 3,000, balance?
12,000 at the end of the.
Right. I already told you, for each and every payment, you should compute time of supply separately, correct?
Yes.
Tell me, what is the date of completion of service?
15th September.
Function held, okay, 15th September. Ma. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What is your requirement to know what is the time of supply? First thing, what is the question I'll ask you? Whether you have raised invoice as per the time limit or not. What is the time limit to raise the invoice?
It's in 30 days from.
What is the time limit to raise invoice?
30 days.
From the
30
supply.
days from your birthday or my birthday?
Supply of service.
From the invoice
Supply
birthday,
of-
correct?
Yes, sir.
Date of invoice, sorry, date of completion of service, correct? So from the completion of service, within 30 days, you should have raised the invoice. Did they raise the invoice within 30 days? Did they raise invoice within 30 days? When the invoice was raised?
No, sir.
No, no.
When the invoice was raised?
27th
When the invoice was
27th
raised?
October. 27th
27th.
October.
Within 30 days, after 30 days?
After
After
30
30
days.
After 30
After
days.
30 days.
So that means, please understand here, for rupees 15,000, for 3,000 separately I should calculate, for
15,000. 12,000.
12,000 I should calculate separately.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So now for 3,000, what is the answer now? What should I compare? What should I compare?
Date of payment.
Actual date of invoice and date
Date
of
of payment is clear because in every case date of payment is common. Correct? What else I should compare? What else I should compare?
actual date of invoice.
Actual date of invoice. Invoice
of
is not
completion.
raised within section 31 time limit.
30 days
Invoice
from the
is
date.
not,
Provision of service.
30.
yes,
Provision of
actual
service.
date of provision of service or date of completion of service or date of payment. That is the provision. Are you able to understand? The law is date of completion of service, date of payment, whichever is earlier. Why? What is the reason? What is the reason? Respond.
Reason?
What is the
Because
reason?
invoice is not issued.
Exactly. Because invoice is not raised within section 31 time limit. Clear up.
Yes, sir.
Right. Tell me what is the date of payment for this 3,000?
May 6th.
Okay, 6th May. What is date of completion of service?
15 September.
15th September. So what is earlier?
6th May.
6th May.
So this is the time of supply, correct?
Yes, sir.
For this 12,000, what is date of payment?
November 3rd.
12th November. Date of completion of service?
15th September.
Sorry, yes.
15th September.
So what is
Whichever
the
is
time
the-
of supply?
15th September.
Is that clear for everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now see, in goods, if you receive advance, there is a different provision. You will not compare date of payment. You will not compare date of payment. But services, there is no such thing. There is no such relaxation. Why? Sir, already service providers are used to pay tax on advance received by them.
Yes.
For them, this is not new. From the date of introduction of service tax, they were doing the same.
Yes.
So they didn't ask for relaxation. Very honest taxpayers, service providers. So they didn't ask for any relaxation. Are you able to understand? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, what is the last subsection pending for us?
15 September.
36.
Section
Section 13.
33.
13 the there you 13 I know that. What is the subsection?
Subsection 3.
Subsection 3. 4, 5, 6 common. We will not discuss that.
Yes, sir.
Subsection 3. Now, subsection 3, before going to subsection 3, just take a screenshot of this one. You can copy later. Now, we are running out of time. Please take screenshot of this. You can copy later, but please make sure you are copying later.
Section 2.
Yeah. Done. Shall we proceed? Right. Now, 13 subsection 3. Before going to 13 subsection 3, you remember 12 subsection 3 by any chance? How many dates you will compare? 12 subsection 3. How many dates you will compare? Three dates you will compare. Date of receipt of goods. Next.
31st day.
31st day from date of invoice.
Date of payment.
Next,
Date of
date of
payment.
payment.
Date of payment.
Here, see, because they are goods, tangible, you can trace them. I have to see date of receipt of goods, I can verify that. Services, can you trace them? No. So, you eliminate the date of receipt. Still, how many dates pending? 2 dates pending.
Yes, sir.
31st day from date of invoice and date of payment.
Yes.
But sir, already in services, I gave you time limit to raise invoice for 30 days. So 31 plus 30, how many days?
61.
So the law is 13 subsection 3 says the time of supply is date of payment or 61st day from date of invoice, whichever is earlier. Is that clear? Is that clear? What is 13 subsection 3? What is 13 subsection 3? Take a screenshot, take a screenshot. What is 13 subsection 3? 13 subsection 3 is the time of supply for services covered under RCM.
Yeah.
What is the time of supply for services covered under RCM? Date of payment or 61st day from the date of invoice, whichever is
Earlier.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Here one small addition. What is that now? If I am importing services from my associated enterprise, which is located outside India, who is liable to pay GST? Recipient. Imports means recipient, RCM. That is not there in your syllabus, but still. Importation of services are covered under RCM.
Okay.
So here the law says if you are importing service from your associated enterprise, you are liable to pay GST. And what is the time of supply for that? Now, don't take the same rule. Date of payment is 61st day and all, you don't take it. Here the time of supply is date of payment that remains constant. If you observe everywhere you go, date of payment is following you, just like a hatchdog. So date of payment, date of payment. What is the another date you have to compare? Date of entry of service in recipient's books of accounts. Whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier. See now, look at this illustration. Hope you have taken the screenshot there.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Look at illustration number 7. Make it fast. What is the answer?
Determine the supply of information. Supply services. May 4th.
July 4th, sir.
Sorry, come again. What is the answer?
July 4th, sir.
July
4.
4. Sure, Pakka. Others. What is the provision, guys? Reverse charge services. What is the provision? Date of payment. What is the date of payment? August 21st or 61st day from date of invoice. What is the 61st day from date of invoice? Date of invoice is May 4th. Should I add that or should I exclude it? May 4th, should I add or exclude?
Exclude.
Exclude. What is 61st day?
July 4th.
July.
July
4.
4 or 7?
4, sir.
4. Just because July 7th is MSD birthday, you cannot take July 7th. It is July 4th. Shall we proceed? So the answer is July 4th. Right. Look at this illustration 8. Illustration 8. Illustration 8. This is something related to
Foreign income.
Input.
Input.
import of service from associated enterprise.
From
Yes or no?
foreign. The company.
What is the provision? What is the provision? Date of
Date of payment.
date of payment or
entry in the book.
date of entry in the books of
Receipt.
yes, recipient. So here what is it? May 4th, a German company issues email informing its associated company ABC Limited of the cost of technical services provided to it. Okay. July 2nd, ABC Limited transfers the amount. There is a date of payment here. Date of entry in the recipient's books of accounts is given or not? Yes or no? Is given or not?
Not given, sir.
It is not given. Date of entry in the recipient's books of accounts is not given. That means what? It will happen somewhere later. So what is the time of supply?
Payment.
What is time of supply?
July 2.
July 2, obviously. Date of payment or date of entry. Date of payment they have given. Date of entry will happen somewhere in future. Which is earlier? Obviously, July.
July
July
2nd.
2nd is earlier. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Simple. That's the story there. Then for vouchers, all other cases remaining the same story. 12 subsection 4, 5, 6 is equal to 13 subsection 4, 5 and 6. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So my dear friends, please understand, we are done with tomorrow evening 7 o'clock is the lecture, not morning. Tomorrow evening 7 o'clock is the lecture. Fine. And please understand, we are done with time of supply one. So you already got the handout for the problems for time of supply separately clear. Today your homework is at any cost finish these problems. And after finishing the problems, you should ping me in the WhatsApp. You have completed the problems, all the problems. How many problems are there? 14. So everyone should solve them and you should ping me at any cost today. Is that clear?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now only
Okay.
PDF is being shared. Those who have not got the copies, you can ping me in the WhatsApp. I will share the PDF soft copy. And
Okay.
today at any cost, you are solving this PDF problems and you are texting me, sir, done with the homework and good night. That should be your message. Clear?
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
Super. Fine. So tomorrow we'll discuss something very, very important, value of supply. Don't miss it at any cost. Because every
Okay.
attempt, value of supply is being tested as a first question in the exam. So don't miss it at any cost. And see you all in tomorrow's lecture. Till then, this is your CA Vishnuvardhan signing off. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Bye bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.